This morning's Vanlife adventure. Bunny! Definitely not an Australian native, and in fact can be considered a pest. But look how cute! Well, that was a very quiet night, as predicted. I was completely alone in this little campsite last night. Tea. Earl Grey. Hot, of course, because who serves Earl Grey cold? It always bothered me when Picard would order his tea like that, because in the absence of any other specific instruction, you would think the replicator would be programmed to deliver Earl Grey tea hot. That is the standard way to serve it. The only reason you would want to specify the temperature is if you wanted something outside of the regular expectation. Or maybe he has to specify hot because he likes his Earl Grey hotter than the standard serving temperature. When I make tea, for example, I don't boil the water because you don't want to scorch the tea leaves. You want to bring your water up to 80, 85 degrees Celsius-ish. Varies a bit depending on the tea, but for Earl Grey in particular, and English breakfast and most standard, black teas you'll get at the supermarket, about 85 degrees Celsius is just about perfect for brewing. And by the time it's brewed, 4 to 6 minutes later, again, depending on how you like your tea and what tea you're making, it comes down to a lovely drinking temperature. That is good, though. It's just twinings, depending on how you want to say that, Earl Grey. Cheap and easy to get. And pretty decent for a tea bag, Earl Grey. Maybe one of these days I'll get some tea leaves and make it properly. Oh, I don't really have the equipment to make it properly, do I? God damn it. Which brings me to the rumination this morning. The repeating thought that I cannot escape cycling round and round, bouncing off the inside of my skull like a ball of flubber made out of misery. And that is, I think I'm going to have a bad day. I do not feel good. I feel like I want to watch a movie that I know will upset me and have a good cry. I feel every emotion, like right there, just at the back of the jawline, just ready to burn out. It's emotional dysregulation. It's not uncommon in neurodivergent people, especially when you have a combination of autism and bipolar, as I do. Sometimes they team up just to ruin your ability to regulate your emotion. And I don't mean suppress or control your emotion. I just mean when you feel something, it's 1,000% or nothing. At least for me. There are kookaburras over there. Remember, like last week or whatever it was, I woke up to the noise of kookaburras. Well, no noise this morning, but there's a couple feeding over in the field there. This whole thing I've been doing over the last fistful of days, just bouncing from campsite to campsite to campsite, waking up without a plan, going, oh, what am I going to do today? And then having several slight disappointments, and then just finding the nearest safe-looking free campground. The grind of that is really starting to wear me down. Like, that action day to day feels coarse and joyless and hopeless. because there's nothing to look forward to. In the first week or so of being homeless in a van, I had things. Let's couch it in video game terms. I had side quests. I had a main quest, which was eventually make my way out of Melbourne. And I had all these little side quests to try and, make living out of my van a slightly less miserable experience, like, obtaining a jet boiler, which I love, or all these little bits and pieces, and exploring different food options that will, be shelf-stable in a van, which can experience temperature extremes. And I'm kind of out of side quests. I feel myself trying to make new ones. Like yesterday I was talking about trying to find a mattress topper to make my air mattress a little bit more comfortable on my crappy back. That's not really fun. That's not interesting. I'm kind of done with that part now for the most part. I mean, there are a couple more things I want to get or do just to make things slightly more convenient, like the curtains on the back window. I still need to do something about those because I hate fiddling with those things. But aside from that, it's just get up, figure out if I need to go to a shop to buy food, and then find a campground. And hopefully along the way, say a few things to the camera that will make an interesting narrative of some kind. Just so I can keep putting these videos up, so I can keep some money trickling in, so I can keep affording to wake up, go buy food if I need it, find a campground, edit the video, and do that day after day after day. And I know a few of you have been asking about, hey, have you got any video game stuff with you so you can chill out that way? I do. I've got my original ROG Ally, I've got my Switch 2. But the issue with those is, even though I know I really enjoy video games and I miss, because I was, for at least a decade and a half, I've been playing video games pretty much every day. And my whole life I've been playing video games at least a few times a week. And, that part of my life is missing at the moment. Not missing because I don't have access. So, I've got 2 handheld gaming things. But missing because there's a power economy I'm working with. I need enough power in various, battery banks and what devices and whatnot to be able to produce the videos, so I can put them online, so I can make a little bit of money, so I can keep surviving. And the day-to-day, driving between places. I don't know if neurotypicals appreciate how tiring that can be for someone who is autistic. Because driving is a complicated set of things. A lot of people sort of do it on automatic, unfortunately, because there's some terrible drivers out there. I should make a vlog about all the terrible driving stuff I've seen. That's what I should do. But autistic people, especially those aligned like me, there's so much to concentrate on. We're constantly concentrating on the speed we're going to make sure we're at or under the limit, or going a certain amount under the limit in certain areas or in certain conditions. There's the mechanics of the driving. There's being aware of what everyone else is doing on the road at all times, trying to predict what they're going to do next to keep yourself safe. There's the constant visual stimulation of stuff rushing by you, and signs and cars and people and houses and, views and all that sort of stuff. And, a regular brain just tends to process that fairly naturally. Autistic brains, all of that gets processed. None of it gets ignored. And most of it has to be manually processed. It is an exhausting mental process, which is why I don't drive for more than 4 or 5 hours, totally max, a day. But there's only so long I can do that in one sitting before I sort of start to burn out. And burning out, sensory overload when you're driving, it's super dangerous. So I've been doing little hops day to day to day. And the point I'm trying to make is, by the time I'm done doing that, my 3 to 4 hours of driving a day, maybe even 2, it's very often I'm, overstimulated. I'm, approaching stimulation burnout. And the thought of playing a game when I feel like that is just not appealing. I really want, to play my games. I made special effort to load up both the ROG Ally and the Switch 2 with games that I knew I would enjoy, that I knew I could sit down and, just soak into, very relaxing, enjoyable type of games. They're sitting there waiting for me, but I just don't have the space for them in my head. The other thing I used to do constantly, and have done all my life, is fall asleep to television. These days, I had my media server at home, or I'd had streaming services, and I would just put something on and fall asleep to it, and often wake up to it as well. I've done that once on the last powered campsite that I got to stay at, because I had the opportunity to run power into the van overnight. And I just watched, it was Family Guy. I just put season 4 of Family Guy on and just let it run. And that was one of the most comfortable night's sleeps I've had, because that just constant familiar noise helps. I don't know if that's specifically an autism thing, but it is a trauma thing. It has to do with abandonment issues. You wouldn't need that familiar noise at night, just as a comfort thing. And I tend not to sleep very well when it's dead silent, which it often is. I hate this. This whole idea of the romantic van life adventure. There are moments here and there that I've had that have been really enjoyable. Get to see stuff and wild animals and go to the tour site and get some lovely shots and stuff like that. Sure. I just wish the life I had wasn't disrupted. I was content. I had just enough money to get by. It was warm, safe and dry. Had my computers, had my desk, had my wonderful fast internet connection. Had the privilege of, being my own boss. I still had bad days. But I'm having more bad days being homeless in the van. And it's not like I didn't expect that. Of course I am. Being homeless in a van is not a holiday. It's not these van lifers that, spend 8 months traveling then go home to their lovely house. Or get to sell everything they own and go off in their, $20,000, $30,000 camper vans all set up really nice, and they've got wood paneling and insulation and got a little kitchenette in there. And they've got a little thing that folds out and makes a little table and chairs. And, I don't have that. I've got the raw back end of a van that used to belong to a locksmith. I've got my front seat, and I've got my air mattress in the back, and I've got a pile of shit that's next to that. And nothing feels like home and as it turns out, home is a very important concept to me, to most of us, I would imagine. And I think it's one of those things you can take for granted until it's gone. Okay, we're done with this. See, I told you. No ability to regulate emotion. I mean, it's okay to be sad. And it's okay not to be okay. I fucking hate that phrase. Such trite, meaningless. Doesn't help. It's okay not to be okay. You're allowed to feel sad. Yeah, everybody knows that. It's a human emotion. Telling someone it's okay not to be okay isn't helpful. Fuck! So, there was a few of you who left comments on the pre-homeless videos when I was in a real low place, and a few of the more recent videos in the Vanlife stuff where I'm having bad days. And people have comments thanking me for, being open about the mental health struggles, because you don't really see it from this. Lots of kids around today, the alphas and the zoomers, and who do nothing but, make content about their mental health. It's the central pivot around, what they do online. But people men, I should say, from my generation, Gen X, late Gen X, yeah, very, very late Gen X, like 1978, just 2 years before millennials started. The code of masculinity that we were taught, that we were indoctrinated with, barely allows for public displays of men not being okay. And I've made a video or two in the past, talking about my personal approach and opinion on masculinity and what is good masculinity, what's toxic masculinity, all that sort of stuff. And it's not really a debate I want to have, but here's the thing about me leaving this stuff in the videos. On the one hand, I feel like I'm doing some good, being open, vulnerable, honest, setting an example of talking about it. Oh, on the other hand, the little guilt gremlin in the back of my mind says, leave it out. Too embarrassing. Too open. It's your autistic oversharing. Nobody appreciates that. Or, worse still, leave it out. It's emotional manipulation. You are trying to pull on people's heartstrings. For pity. And you need to be better than that. Even moments like that. Do I cut around that? Do I leave it in? Hey Blunty, you should just do something for self-care today. Go do something you enjoy. It'll cheer you up. Yeah, we've talked about this before. That's not how clinical depression works. bipolar depression or any number of other depressive disorders. You can't, go to a park your way out of it. That's a fun video. I should get on the road, but where am I going to go? Taking it with me anyway. Wherever I wind up. Can't outdrive it. But at the very least, if I'm driving, the sensory processing that is required for that, for an autistic person to drive safely, it might drown out the rumination for a bit. Or it might make me more dangerous on the road. Who knows? Let's find out. I'm having a bad day. Now kiss. I might be a little bit effed. I've basically just driven around the whole day. Burnt a crap ton of fuel that I really shouldn't have burnt. Stopped off a couple of shopping centres just for a walk around. But yeah, the area I'm in right now, which is sort of Greater Melbourne, I just wandered in that way. Didn't mean to, just found myself here. But there are no free campsites within reach before dark, really, and the one caravan park that's within reach, their website seems to be broken because it's not showing whether or not they have any reservations. Unless they don't have any reservations, which, considering it's the off-season, I struggle to believe, because every other place I've been has had plenty of spaces open, so I don't know whether to risk it and drive to it and see what happens at reception or not, but I think the option might be try and find somewhere safe and flat and subtle, and just sort of stealth park in suburbia somewhere. I'm so burned out. Yeah, so I don't know what tonight's going to be. Don't even know whether this vlog is going to go up, on the schedule the other ones have been. We'll see, I guess. Well, guess I'm not going that way. Sun's just about to go down behind me. I gave up looking for some place to free camp and or stealth camp. The area, just there's not a lot of space for it. It's very hilly as well, so finding a flat spot that is also, not in anybody's way and isn't going to arouse suspicion or aggravation or anything is just wasn't happening, and I have so little left today. So I drove to that caravan park that I mentioned, whose website wasn't working. I just went up to reception and say, hey, I need a site. I actually got two nights at a powered site for it was $104 or $108, something like that. I'm just gonna. I need a break, and this is as good a break as I'll get, I guess. I'm just gonna take tomorrow, and I don't know whether I'm gonna work on some other content ideas that I have, or just lie down and watch cartoons all day. We'll go for a walk. See what kind of mood I'm in and how much energy I have. I think I should have stayed put this morning. I just sort of locked down at that campsite, curled up in the back of the van, because today was too hard. And it took too much out of me and cost too much, because I burnt fuel that I didn't need to be burning. And yeah, now I'm $108 in the hole on this campsite, just in the hopes that it will be sufficient to allow me to recover function. Been a rough week, just all over the place. Just had a little sit down in the kitchen at this caravan park, just made myself a coffee. And this is why we clean up after ourselves at a shared camp kitchen. After. You're welcome. Sat in the silence for half an hour, just ruminating against my will. Coffee was good though. Also, I tried to amuse myself when I went to turn the ceiling fan, and right next to the ceiling fan there was a fire blanket, so I tried to amuse myself with that. How to use a fire blanket. Pull down the tabs to release. Gently cover the vessel containing the fire completely. Turn off the heat source and leave blanket in a position until cool. Wrap yourself in the blanket and have a lie down, because it's all very stressful with things being on fire. I think that was mostly just to prove that I hadn't completely gone dead yet. There was something left. Tiny little ember of joy. I'm sorry this isn't as chill or relaxing or whatever as the other videos. I know a lot of you watch them exactly for that, so you can just unwind, you know, start your day or end your day nice and gentle. And this wasn't it. So I'm sorry if I ruined that for you. But it's also all I had for you today, so thank you for all of the support, both the likes, the comments, the new hype thing, which is working for some people, not for others. Apparently it's an app only thing, so if you're using the web it doesn't work. I've also got some weird limits, I don't know. And thank you especially to those of you who are continuing to go above and beyond with monetary help through the PayPal and the Patreon and super chats and things like that. So just here's hoping tomorrow's better, because if it's worse, I'm so fucked.